All right, we'll go ahead and get started. I've got 4:15, and folks can line up in the chat, and then maybe Coach, maybe you can start off a little bit about your last practice before the spring game and prep before heading into Monday, and any updates to Monday's format and schedule.
Yeah, absolutely. So today was actually practice number 12. When we set the schedule up at the beginning of January, we wanted to go a 5-week window, practice on Tuesday, Thursday, Saturdays, and kind of slide the spring game in as it laid out. So that jumped into today's practice number 12, kind of gone as scheduled. I was really, really pleased today. It was kind of a day that we practiced a little bit. Then we went into Monday night's format, just how we're going to play the game, and had officials out there and really just thought our guys were efficient. We went a little shadow tempo, which isn't quite full speed, but a good brisk run, and couldn't be happier with the way they kind of executed that. I will give you a roster. I'll give you guys a roster, probably not till about midday Monday. Just literally not trying to hide anything. Obviously, just don't know exactly who's going to be able to play. We had probably about half a dozen guys that are, have missed some time here as of late that practice today. We're going to see how they recover and be ready for Monday. And then obviously, give you a final roster on Monday afternoon. Like I said earlier, the format will be really just a normal football game. We'll have guys in orange, guys in blue. The guys in orange will be our more, I would say the guys that we feel we started a normal game would be our starters, the guys that we factor into how they practice over the last 4 weeks and perform. But there'll be a lot of guys that rotate in with that group. There'll be some of those guys in the orange group that roll in with a blue group. Kicking will be a combination of both orange and blue. It won't be live kicking situations. We'll practice all four phases, all four core phases: punt, return, kickoff, return. We'll actually incorporate some of our guys that have been limited during spring drills. So you'll see some guys that, even though they haven't been in practice, is fully engaged, talking with Jeremy in the training room just to get those guys on the field, talking football, speaking football. It's not a live rep, so there's no threat of contact or injury. So we'll incorporate some of that. Have a rapid fire field goals at the end of the first and third quarter, which will be the execution of 6 field goals as quick as we can. And then the scoring will be, if the orange group scores, it'll be normal scoring. If the blue group scores, that's points worth double, except for during the field goal. So really excited about the group. I think we've put ourselves in a position. Excited about a lot of things off the field as well, just the way they've developed and handled themselves going into that last week. Recruiting is going very well for us. Today was a great day. So I think a lot of good things happening around the program, and hopefully continue to move forward. So with that, open it up to questions.
All right, Jeremy, you can lead it off, and everybody else knows the drill.
Hey, Brett, good afternoon. I know for us, this is our first real huge evaluation opportunity, but for you guys, you get to see them every day. How big of an evaluation mark is this spring game for you guys?
Well, I think, Jeremy, the obvious, right? It's probably as legitimate of opportunities we would get to be in a live, game scenario. Even though we're going against each other, it's going to be, officials. There's going to be, I don't know what the final count is of number of people that are in the stand. So that's exciting. I see the pressure of game day that we're building up as best we can as coaches to see how our guys perform under that. Really no restrictions as far as how we're going to line up and play and execute things offensively, defensively. So, the pure element of that is going to be a good thing to put a quantitative measure on. But we got a long time between now and the fall too, right? This is practice number 13 on Monday, and we'll have 2 practices after that. But a lot of prep time in the summer and fall camp to get ready for Nebraska. But it is a good evaluation tool.
And I know you can't talk specifics, but to have an in-stater buy-in, down-stater buy-in, like, how reassuring is that your pitch seems to be working, and can that help create a domino effect?
I think recruiting is from we've gotten here to where we are today been just a very, very positive thing for our staff. We've done certain things that you guys have written about. A lot of things probably have never been noted. Just things we do behind the scenes, phone calls. I literally walk down the hallway after getting off the phone with another in-state coach, and the evaluation that we've had here in the last couple of weeks to get where we are moving forward. So I've said all along, right, for us to be the flagship of the state, and for us to be the University of Illinois and build this thing, sustain success, it's going to have to start with the kids from Illinois, and to get on board with the coaches and to get on board with the players, and ultimately to get players in our program that believe in those same things is going to be, absolutely the greatest mark of our program. I think we as a program then have to reflect the state. I've said this a number of times, but the only times I've seen great organizations succeed for a long period of time is when they reflect the areas that they're from. So, to be in here in Illinois and represent this state and the hardworking mentality of the people that make up the state, our background, our alumni, is going to be very important.
Thank you, Bret.
Thank you.
Hey, Bret, good afternoon. I noticed this morning that we got to see the special teamers for about the first time, and Blake Hayes was out there as well as Hugh Robertson. We all know how Blake Hayes is, what kind of a vibrant personality. What kind of a guy is Hugh Robertson, and how does he fit in to your punting game?
Well, honestly, when I was getting here and I realized the dynamic duo I had there at punter was pretty cool. Him and Hugh both just great personalities. Both of them have very unique stories before they even came here, right? So they've got a unique perspective and background, obviously, as you well know. I would say that probably the most intriguing thing to watch both those guys interact is their personal relationship with each other. But then literally, like, to watch these guys in pre-practice, they will stand 40 yards away from each other and punt the ball to one another. And like, nobody takes a step more than one way or the other. The accuracy of their punts is like so uncharted. I've never seen anything like it. Even Ben, our special teams coordinator, Ben Miller, just the skill set of these two guys is very rare and very, very awesome. I think we have to realize the true potential and the weapons that we have with those two guys.
And I also noticed this morning there was a larger number of green shirts that came out on the field when the rest of the team came out. Is that just precautionary, just keeping certain guys out of certain drills and limited contact with them?
Jim, great question. Actually, today was the largest amount of green shirts just for a reason. So there's certain guys in a normal practice or scrimmage scenario, those guys are being held out for a variety of reasons, right? There's some guys due to injury, some guys due to just not being able to participate at this time. So what we did is we incorporated those guys in green jerseys, because on Monday, they'll be in white jerseys. They'll be able to actively participate, but they can't take contact. So they'll be involved in look teams for special teams units. And the white just means they can't get hit, just like our quarterbacks will be in white on Monday. So none of them will be hit. So anybody that can't have contact, we're putting them in white jerseys.
Thanks, Bret. Appreciate it.
That's it. That was just it.
Thanks, Bret.
Yep.
Hey, Bret. I want to dial back to Thursday's practice real quick, since it was the last one in pads. I know we were only there for 15 minutes as media members, but it kind of, at least to me, seemed like there was a bit of a palpable, maybe extra energy, a little extra oomph, a little more talking. Did you kind of sense that throughout the practice as well? How did you feel about that last practice in pads?
Well, we gassed them up. We said that it's a Thursday practice, but according to how the game laid out, it was like a Tuesday work day for us. And as we build this thing and develop it the right way, our kids will know that Tuesday and Wednesday are our hardest, most physical work days. Tuesday, probably the most significant, to be quite honest. So we had gassed them up, and Tank and his crew, to our positional coaches, and let those guys know what we expected in that practice, and they had good energy. I like the way especially the way they started. I think when you guys got in, we had already done a run. We call them RTDs, run tackle drill. So some things to kind of get their bodies going a little bit. We did a goal line tackling, I think, before you guys got in the stadium, to be honest. And so there was definitely some juice in that drill. It's not really goal line tackling. It's just short space tackling that you use on early downs and a little bit on third down. So it's a good, intense drill. And I think that you saw the byproduct of that more than anything.
And Jim just mentioned when we got there today, the specialists were on the field, and then all the other guys kind of slowly started to trickle out. And they just seemed, again, I'm kind of going off a vibe that I felt, just they seemed very upbeat, very energetic in a different sort of way than on Thursday. I mean, what's the excitement you feel about these guys surrounding Monday's game? Is it kind of palpable at this point these guys are ready to do this? Yeah,
I think they are. I've been trying to get them that way. When I approached the powers that be, I wanted to have something unique to Illinois football, the block I, for a reason. And we talked about Thursday night games, Friday night games. When they threw out to me the idea of Monday night game, I absolutely jumped on board and wanted to give them their own time slot. I think somebody told me there was 7 SEC games today. I know there's some Big Ten games around. So, the fact that Monday night we can be live on the Big Ten Network, I think it's got these guys a little bit jacked up. We'll try to make it as game-like as we can. In addition to that, simply, and I know we went over this when we talked earlier, that I think they're excited to be in front of their family and friends, right? So, I mean, I just think there's a certain element to you as a player that if you know your parents are going to be there, your family, your friends, you're being watched on national TV, whatever it is, I think gonna bring you a little juice. So I think we'll see a good active frenzy on Monday night, and hopefully we'll play within our minds. We'll play a safe and effective ball game and see where we stand.
Thanks, Brett.
Yep.
Hey, Brett, obviously you've talked a lot about just the players' excitement surrounding Monday, but where are you kind of at in terms of excitement, nerves? Obviously, you're going to be in front of Illinois fans and Illinois community really for the first time, kind of, in the spotlight for them to see you do your thing. What are just the feelings for you coming up on Monday?
Gabby, it's this is kind of old hat for me a little bit, but I would also say that I'm excited. Friday afternoons, we usually get out of a staff meeting about 4:30 or 5, and these guys my coaches are usually in the building until, from 5 in the morning, 5:30 in the morning until 8 or 9 at night. And on Fridays, I've usually tried to knock out by 4:30 or 5. And I get to, the reason I'm selfish, I get to go grab my girls and grab them out of daycare, and then we go to the park. And I was sitting there on a swing set trying to decide whether we were going to go to the swings, the balance beam, or the jungle gym next. And a gentleman walked up to me and basically welcomed me and said, excited to see you here. Saw my girls and said, I can't wait to get in there Monday night. It's been a long time. And it kind of just took me back to being in a community, right? And being a normal person in this community. And then also the outreach that we will have, right? It's the first time we've had people in Memorial Stadium in a long time. It's the first time the community has been able to see this new edition of what we are at the University of Illinois. So I know there's a lot of excitement, and for that, I'm excited. I'm a detail guy, right? I want to get through tomorrow, to quite honestly, to get to where we need to be Monday, and then Monday will be as effective. I was very, very excited about what I saw today, and if today is a good indication of what I'm going to see Monday night, we went the entire practice today during the game. We were in a shadow tempo game where we moved the ball. We were backed up. We were short yardage. We were extreme long. We worked all 4 phases of kicking game. We didn't have one drop ball offense. We didn't have one dropped ball. And for the quarterbacks to throw it, for the receivers to catch it, I thought that was a really significant mark in our program because that hadn't happened to this point. So I'm not saying every ball was completed, right? So some were, but if our guys got their hands on it, they caught it, which is a nice step in the right direction.
Yeah, and obviously just, coming up on the spring game and, double-digit practices now, where have you really, seen the team make a jump, or just how have you seen them improve, not so much, physically and, from a football stance, but just, from a togetherness stance, and how they've really embodied, what you want to set for this team? Yeah,
it probably we'd be here for an hour. I look at everything from the way they take the field to the way they leave it, the way they do post practice. Just Tank will come in and tell me that we have post practice recovery at 100%, which means every kid gets in the cold tub. And I know a lot of people don't believe this, but most young men between the age of 18 and 22 don't want to hop in the cold tub for 5 minutes after practice, even though we tell them it's going to be good for them. So we'll have 100% of those guys get in there, and that tells me a huge step in the right direction. The way they dress, hands that we put on them pre-practice, during the practice, the way they finish, the way they drill. We did run tackle drills today. We introduced 2 new ones: the stumble bum and the running knife, which is kind of an open field sideline tackle drill. They're so much better in those things right now than what they were. So I don't know what it means. I just know we've gotten better, and that's all I ask our guys to do: keep stacking days. We're 12 practices into it. If we get better tomorrow on Sunday to get ready for Monday, we got a chance.
Thanks, Brett.
Thank you.
Coach, what's the thing on Monday you most want to see from your team? What's the most important thing you want to see?
Well, Bob, for me, I want them to play safe, right? I want everybody that starts that game to finish the game. But I'm assuming football-wise, I've been preaching to our guys quite a bit, and you'll hear me say it. Before you can win a game, you got to stop losing it. So the three easiest ways to lose a game is through turnovers, mental errors, and penalties, right? So if we can be positive in that area, right? If we can, not turn the ball over offensively, if we can create some turnovers defensively, which is obviously a tough situation when you're playing each other, but if we can, have few to no penalties and few to no mental errors, if we make that step and show that we can execute and put ourselves in position to win a game, then we're going in the right direction.
And what the flip side, you kind of answered it. What's the biggest fear about you beyond the injuries? Is it a sloppy game? Is it that's
Yeah, that's a great point, Bob. I would think anytime you watch or observe something you don't coach, it's concerning. And then you got to figure out, have I allowed this to happen, or is it just not enforced enough? So like a lot of times there's a saying in coaching, right? You see on Saturdays what you allow to happen during the week. And, I know what we don't allow. Like I bring it up, I point to it. Positive reinforcement goes a long way, but sometimes negative reinforcement is necessary. I tell our coaches all the time, coach the room, not the name. Because if I'm in a room full of all of you like we are right now, and I say, hey, Lauren, you got to sit up here and pay attention, then Lauren Tate's going to pay attention, but all of you just look around, you don't take effect to it, right? If you say a player's name, they naturally pay attention. If you say a group and coach to the group, hey, we all got to sit up, learn, pay attention, they all listen. So there's just learning things that we have to make sure as coaches we're getting across to them. And Monday will be a good test to see if we're getting in the right direction.
Thanks, Coach.
Lauren, I wasn't meaning to point you out. I thought you were paying attention the whole time.
Did I unmute? I'm going to sneak in a question. A lot of talk about tackling, whether you tackle in practice. Did we tackle well in games? How are we tackling in spring practice, and what do you see in our tackling ability?
That's probably one of the areas that I'm more excited to see anything Saturday night or Monday night is tackling. So we've had two scrimmages. I would say the first scrimmage went. I think we had minimal missed tackles, which was really awesome. Now, I don't know if that was defensively we did things well or offensively we can't make a miss, but we didn't have many missed tackles in the first scrimmage. The second scrimmage, I would say the offense took a step forward. We had some missed tackles. We had some guys, pouring their fundamentals and their breakdown. So I'm really kind of excited. This is really our third. The NCAA allows you to have 3 big-time scrimmages, and Monday night will be our third one. So it's kind of the culmination of where we're at. So I'm very excited, Lauren. I think our coaches have done a nice job defensively, but we work a lot of offensive drills on how to set up and make a player miss. A lot of things I think the players hadn't really heard before. And, running and tackling are a big part of football. And to get better at that specific skill set is something we do on a daily basis.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Coach, I'm curious on the personal side. I guess having been in the NFL for 3 years, this is kind of the first college game environment for your daughters. Is there a plan? Will Jen be up in the suites? Do you want to have them kind of down on the field since it's a spring game? What's your plan for that?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. The plan is Jen will have them up in the suites. When I decided to do the Monday Night Football team, I knew it was going to cut into their bedtime. So I think they'll be able to take in the first half. But my younger one, especially after about 8 o'clock, she turns into a, shall we say, a little tired young lady who at times grows a little red cake with a pitchfork and starts asking a little feisty. So she those two will be going to bed, I think, at halftime. And then I think that the part they're not quite there yet. They understand football. When we see football, they always talk about it. That's what Daddy does. And my oldest asked me the other day. She goes, "Dad, you're the head coach." I said, "That's right, Belle." So she's starting to grasp it. But I think they're probably a couple years away from truly grasping a football game yet.
What about the environment? Like, the band will be there.
Yeah.
You think they'll enjoy the college football environment on Monday night? Yeah,
my oldest, Bella, she actually took in a couple Patriots games. Last year because of COVID, they couldn't take in the Giants games live, but Briella took in, and she loved the cheerleaders. She loved the band. She kind of so on the mascot, but that's been a full year. So it's been a year in the waiting, and we definitely point things out, but I know they're very excited. They came to a scrimmage a couple of weeks ago, and they love the players in their pads and in their uniforms. So they'll definitely be engaged with it. I'm sure I'll hear and see quite a few good pictures about it.
Great, thanks.
Thank you.
Hey, Brett, I have a question just about general format and scoring and kind of what goes into the event on Monday and in general, these intra-squad scrimmages. What determines why scoring and how come it's usually different maybe year to year, program to program? Like, what are the criteria with that?
You know, Paul, I can't speak for others, only for myself. I kind of went to this format. I don't know when exactly it was, but when I wanted to go ones against the world, you want your ones to hopefully win, right? And put the most, but on the same account, that's why I've always let the blue squad, all right, in theory, your reserves or your seconds, so the guys that are trying to become ones count for double. So when they score, it should put a little pressure on them. So that's how I've done it. You know, I'm not, I don't have time in a day and smart enough to figure out some of these teams that score, every third down's worth a point, and, certain things that equate, and they got all these different numbers. I just want to kind of play a good old, good old American football and have touchdowns count for 6. And if they're by the blue, they count for double for 12. But that's really about as simple as I can make it and about as easy as we can make it all happen.
So then when it's over, when you look at the score results, how much stock do you put into what the scoring is? And then how do you take your evaluation of the final result going forward for next fall?
I'll take it as it comes on Monday. I haven't really ever got wrapped up in the score, but I would definitely, if we're in a red area, I want to, we always tell our kids, we want to, when we're in the red area, there's certain expectations that we have, right? When we're going to try to score as many touchdowns, not field goals. And if we are in a third down situation and we offensively can't convert, we definitely got to kick that field goal. Otherwise it's a 4-point swing. There's a lot of things we've taught our guys about where they are on the field and what points matter. So that's the part I'm really going to stress to them is teaching the football IQ. Obviously the score is important. We're going to be on national TV, so that's going to be out there as well. But there's probably in this one specific case, not a lot of emphasis on the final number, just more about the production.
Thanks, Brett.
Thank you.
Hey, good afternoon, Brett. In chatting with Bart yesterday, it sounds like there's a handful, more than 5 offensive linemen who are having a pretty good spring. What's an ideal number for you guys that you would feel comfortable with putting in a game? And is there a way that you would rotate guys in and out during the course of a regular season game?
Yeah, Joey, I would say, Bart's done, a tremendous job with his group through 12 practices. We do things a little bit different than they had been accustomed to here. So that group in particular, I think, had a huge transition angle to go through, and they've handled it very, very well. I would also add, there's probably, Palcho, a significant player for us that we obviously will factor into the fall, hasn't taken 1 rep of spring ball. So that's just another guy on top of what Bart's talking about. But I would say the ideal number is, somewhere in that world of 7 to 9 players that you'd like to go in the game, knowing you feel pretty good. I mean, obviously more than that would be great, but if you have 2 tackles and a bonus swing guy, or one of your 2 starting tackles can play both right and left comfortably. If you had 3 tackles going into a game, you'd feel pretty good. And then I think in the interior core between center guard, if you have 5 guys in that mix that, feel very good, or, that a guard could play center if your number 1 right guard is your number 2 center, or vice versa. If your number 1 or your number 2 center is your backup left guard. So there's some flexibility in the numbers. But I would think going into the game, if you could, kind of say that you're at that 7 to 9, 8 for sure of offensive linemen you want to get in the game would be a positive thing.
And then in terms of logistics, what are you looking for in your coaching staff in terms of communication on Monday night? And can you share who would be up in the box, if anybody, for a spring game?
Yeah, Joey, that's actually went through a transition. Originally, we had kind of talked about putting coaches up and down, but just kind of where we're at as a staff and as well as we've been practicing, I don't want to lose the effect of having a really good production of learning on Monday night. I don't think we're quite there yet as a program. So I'd hope to get one where there are going to be coaches up in the box and coaches on the field, but we'll do that twice in the fall. I want to make sure we have 2 of those before we hit the ground running against Nebraska. So all my coaches will be on the sidelines. We'll be on headsets. It'll be like a normal game day operation in that manner. But from what I know right now, Ryan and TP, Tony Peterson, our 2 play callers, and Ben Miller, our special teams coordinator. All those guys will be on the field on a game and in the fall on game day. So as long as those 3 are where they're comfortable at, and then we'll kind of adjust off of. I'm still learning my players' personalities with our coaches. There's a part of me as a coach that you want your best eyes in the sky, right? But if they're also your best motivators or your best adjusters on the field on game day, that's got to be there. And I feel really good about all of my coaches as these 10 coaches. I know them more and more. So we're not quite at the level I needed to kind of say, hey, you're upstairs, you're downstairs. So we're all going to be downstairs for Monday night.
Thanks, Brett. Appreciate it.
Yep.
That's all good.
Thanks, Coach.
I appreciate it. You guys have a great weekend.